The vertical versus horizontal thing is a battle that's been waged between retro gamers basically since the dawn of time. Wars have been started over this, and the battle rages on to this very day. You got vertical handheld dorks on one side and horizontal handheld nerds on the other side. Keyboard warriors bravely battling it out in the online trenches. But here's the thing. Even though I love all retro handheld formats with a slight preference for vertical handhelds, which is why I made this video about the best vertical retro handhelds, link below, today I'm going to play devil's abacus and try to see things from the other side of the debate. This will be fun. It'll be like a role-playing scenario, and I'll pretend that I like horizontal handhelds better. Sort of like how I pretend to be an adult and talk about adult stuff when I'm around other adults, even though I'm mentally imagining new episodes of the 90s Ninja Turtles show, like that one I came up with yesterday at the bank when Donatello was captured by Shredder and forced to make robots to attack the city, but then April found out and she created a diversion to help him escape, and then it turned out that Donatello secretly programmed the robots to open pizza places and give everyone free pizza. Just like that. There are good reasons why someone might prefer horizontal handhelds. Comfort is one. Vertical handhelds have the advantage of having the screen higher up, but I have to admit that they can feel more cramped. If you've ever had to play a game of finger twister around the back of a vertical device, you know what I'm talking about. Horizontal handhelds feel so much more spacious, with all the room in the world to stretch out those fingies and not get all cramped up. And while vertical handhelds are usually more pocket-friendly, they usually don't add on extra ergonomic grips because they're trying to prioritize pocket potential. Horizontal doodads are less pocket-friendly in sizes and shapes by nature, and since they're not trying to stay slim and pocket-friendly, that means that they usually have ergonomic humps and curves that add to the hand feel. And finally, horizontal handhelds are more nostalgic for lots of people. Besides the Game Boy systems, basically every retro handheld went for a horizontal factor form, except for the flip handhelds. Those are freaks. I'll do a best flip handhelds video soon. So for lots of good reasons, horizontal handhelds are well loved and actually preferred by the majority of handheld users. I ran a community poll and I got thousands of responses, and those nerds picked horizontal handhelds by a pretty wide margin, more than vertical and flip handhelds combined. I wasn't expecting it to win by that much. That's interesting, isn't it? Yes. So assuming that everyone loves horizontal handhelds, the problem is that there are a heck ton of them to choose from. And I'm not even including PC handhelds in this video. We'll do a separate PC handheld video at some point soon. So no, even just the world of horizontal retro handhelds is a vast and varied landscape full of some amazing devices. So today we're going to try to help you get a feel for the best ones, which ones do what stuff, and which ones might be right for you. And we'll save the best for last. My personal favorite will be at the end. So let's get started right in a moment, because I want to tell you that I have links for all these handhelds in the description below. Most of these were sent to me by LitNXT, and I have a discount code down there to save 12% on anything. And I'm also going to have links to all of my reviews for all of these devices down there as well. Just a whole heck ton of links down there. Good for you if you like links. Let's start off with the crowd pleaser handhelds, the one-size-fits-all devices, the ones that'll be the best choice for most people. And for this, there are two main options that I think stand out from the crowd. The first is the Amberlic RG35XXH, which I call the Zazzbizzle. And it's here at the top because it does so much right. It's kind of the perfect middle ground size, small and pocket friendly. It's a 3.5-inch screen device, which is a super common handheld screen size. And the screen is great. It's 4:3 aspect ratio and 640x480 resolution, which again is a great middle ground for most of the stuff you'll be playing on here. And you can actually play a ton of stuff on here. It's an H700 chipset device, like all of the XX devices from Amberlic, which means that you'll get everything up to PS1 and Nintendo DS, and a good amount of Nintendo 64 and Dreamcast and PSP. And you can play PC game ports on here too via Portmaster. And the stock system is good, or you can install my favorite custom operating system, Newly. I have a video about how to do that. Also, this thing is built like a freaking tank. I have no worries about being delicate with this thing when I'm carting it around out in the real world. My main gripe is that they didn't do the retro colorway. Come on, Amberlic, release a retro color version of this, please. The collector within me hates that I don't have a Zazzbizzle that matches the rest of my favorite doodads. And another amazing crowd pleaser handheld that is arguably a better choice for lots of people would be the TrimUI Smart Pro. This isn't as pocket friendly as the Zazzbizzle, but that bigger size adds extra comfort and spaciousness. And it has a much bigger screen. It's almost 5 inches, it's a widescreen with 720p resolution, and that is actually an amazing screen. It's big and bright and crisp and beautiful. The stock system is pretty good too, and LitNXT sells custom cross-mix system SD cards that are all set up and ready to rock with amazing ROM sets. I made a video about those if you want to check it out. That's definitely a good choice if you're looking for something all set up for you that's actually well done. I have Newly installed on mine, and I love it like this. It's about as powerful as the Zazzbizzle, so you'll play most Dreamcast and N64 and PSP. Because we're on a widescreen here, the older stuff is fine, but PSP is actually really nice to play on here. The TrimUI Smart Pro is a bit less well known. It's got kind of a cult classic. So if you're into joining a cult, then get this and you're in. And the next category is the bang for the buck horizontal handhelds. The ones that might not be perfect in many ways, but they offer a surprisingly great experience considering the price that they go for. Let's start with what is probably the best choice in this section, which is the R36H. Which is basically like a cheap version of the Zazzbizzle. And you're getting something that does almost as well as a device that everyone loves, but at a way cheaper price, if you get this. This was made by the folks who made the R36S, which is a super popular retro handheld because it's so cheap and it plays a ton of stuff. But in my opinion, the R36H beats the pants off the R36S because the controls are way better, it looks better, and it's more comfortable to use. The stock system is good, and it also uses an open source chipset, the RK3326 chip, so you can get custom firmwares going on there. It doesn't play quite as much as the Zazzbizzle. More N64 and PSP will struggle on here, but you more or less get access to the same library of games. And at the price these go for, that's neat. This adorable little guy is the MagicX XU Mini M. This company also makes this, the MagicX Mini 028. I tried to like this one, but I didn't. Android on a tiny device with no touchscreen is just too weird. I much prefer the XU Mini M. It's a champ, and this is probably the most genuinely pocket-friendly handheld that I'll talk about today. Out of the box, it runs a sort of lockdown version of AmberELEC, and you can do some custom firmware stuff to get full proper AmberELEC if you want more options. It's got a lovely 2.8-inch screen, and that might be too small for some people, but it's not too small for me. I love it. And the controls on this thing are actually incredible. For the size, it's bafflingly comfortable. Great sticks too. If you don't like small doodads, you probably won't love this, but if, like me, you do love small doodads, then you probably will. And the last bang for the buck doodad that I want to show you is the DataFrog SF2000. To be clear, this isn't a great handheld. It's a sort of okay handheld. It looks cool and it's comfortable, but it's not high quality in terms of emulation. It can handle some NES and Game Boy and Sega Genesis, but it struggles even with some Super Nintendo and Game Boy Advance games. But here's the thing. The SF2000 is like 20-something bucks. It's cheaper than a fast food dinner for you and your sweetie. And unlike your sweetie, the DataFrog won't go all psycho and kick you out for literally no reason. Also, you can get these genuinely good wireless SNES style controllers for it, and they're super cheap. And it also comes with cables to plug it into an old CRT TV, so you use it like a retro console on an old TV or something. I actually had a ton of fun doing this. It's a great doodad if you want something cheap to tinker with, or to give as a gift, or even just as a beater device to take to the beach that your former sweetie likes to go to so you can see if she's hanging out with some other guy or what. The next category is subscribing to TechDweeb, and oh, you were just about to do that. Well then, thanks for that. And the next category is the high-end devices. The ones that you should consider if you're looking to play really high-end emulation like GameCube and PS2 and Switch, and even tinker with experimental PC emulation. And for that, there are two main options, I think. The first is the Odin 2 family of devices. You got the original Odin 2 and the Odin 2 Mini, but the Odin 2 Portal is my favorite Odin 2 because of that big freaking beautiful OLED screen. This screen is huge, 7 inches, and that's 1080p full HD, and it's 120 Hz high refresh rate. Anything that you play on this screen will look incredible, I can promise you that. With dark blacks, and the colors are rich and vibrant. The device itself looks a little bit weird, a bit of a weird shape, but this thing is actually crazy comfortable. The controls are incredible, everything from the D-pad and the buttons to the sticks and the triggers. Retroid really know how to nail the controls. I mean Ayn, not Retroid. That's a different company. And the performance is incredible. You'll be playing GameCube upscaled to 1080p with widescreen sheets. Same thing with PS2. The vast majority of games will run upscaled with no issues. And most Nintendo Switch, this uses the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 processor, so compatibility is solid across the board. And PC streaming, if you're into that, this is an amazing streaming device. It's not cheap, but for the price, you get so much, and honestly, I think it's priced just right considering the quality of this thing. However, there is another amazing high-end doodad that is directly competing with the Odin 2 Portal. That's the Ayaneo Pocket Evo, and this thing is great for all the same reasons that the Portal is great. The screen is the same screen, I think. I'm pretty sure they're using the same panel here. Except the Evo has unlocked more frame rate options, which is good because I prefer using it at settings that the Odin 2 Portal doesn't give you. Performance is actually better on the Evo. The G3X Gen 2 here is the more powerful chip, however the compatibility is a little bit less than the Portal, so some games still might run better on the Portal. The reason that I personally prefer the Evo is that it's much more comfortable, the controls are better, including those incredible thumbsticks that are quite literally the best sticks that I've ever used on any handheld, and it has the retro vibes that I love. It costs more than the Portal, but not by a crazy amount, and I personally would pay the premium for this over the Portal. But I actually made a whole freaking video putting these two handhelds against each other. Definitely watch that if you're trying to decide between them. And now we have the weird handhelds. And you guys know I don't like weird things. Nothing but super normal, by the books stuff on my channel, nothing out of the ordinary. Isn't that right, Dark Cube in my basement? He said yes. Speaking of cubes, have I introduced you to my favorite square screen device? This is the RG Cube XX, which I call the Squazizzle. I freaking love this thing. It's one of my top 5, but whether or not you'll love it depends on if you want what a square screen device gives you. I've made the case in the past that every retro doodad lover needs a square screen device because it's the perfect screen ratio for square screen games like Game Boy and Game Boy Color and Neo Geo Pocket and Pico 8. It's great for Super Nintendo and NES. It's fine for 4x3 stuff like PS1 or whatever. It's not great for 16:9 stuff like PSP, but it's actually awesome for Nintendo DS, since you can play those vertically oriented games in a way that actually works. And also, this is my favorite way to play vertical shooters, which is a genre that I love. Now, this whole square screen gaming thing is a bit of a niche topic, a bit weird for lots of gamers, but if you give it a chance, you'll probably come around to it. And there is no better device to do square ratio stuff than the Squazizzle. I love this thing so much and I play it all the time to this day. This one is the RG34XX, which I call the Thiccbizzle. This one's going for the original GBA vibe. And if you didn't have a GBA or know what a GBA looked like, you'd probably look at this and think, man, that is one weird looking handheld. Because the original GBA was great at the time and it's nostalgic, but it's a little bit weird looking by today's standards. Let's be real. And making a modern handheld that goes for that vibe is also weird. And playing PS1 or PSP on a Game Boy Advance is also weird too. It's amazing though. I love this thing. I love the retro vibes of it, and this transparent white model has become my favorite. It's amazing for GBA because this screen is the perfect resolution for 3x GBA integer scaling, and it plays other stuff good too. 3x2 handhelds are few and far between, and that's my favorite ratio of screen, so it gets points for that. If you want a GBA focused device that does other stuff on the side, this is a great budget choice. And then we have the RG Arc D. This one is weird because it's got this weird shape. It's got 6 face buttons, which lots of people love, but you have to admit that's not how buttons are normally done. And the D-pad, this is a circular rolling style D-pad, which is another strength of this thing, but it's also an uncommon style of D-pad. And frankly, it's because of these unique choices that set this one apart and make it weird in the retro handheld world. Weird in a good way. Because these things that it does well make it the perfect handheld for a certain style of games. Lots of people agree that this is the best fighting game handheld, great for arcade games because the D-pad feels almost like a joystick. You can roll it around. And it's got the look and feel of a Sega Genesis controller, so you get that Sega nostalgia. If you're a Sega kid, then you'll love this thing. And if you like big 4-inch screens, you'll love it too. And if you always wanted a handheld shaped like a boomerang so you can throw it around the backyard, then you shouldn't be allowed to have handhelds. You're just too weird. And with all that out of the way, let's move on to my personal favorite horizontal handheld. The king of horizontal handhelds, according to me, which is the famous Retroid Pocket 5. This has quickly become my most played handheld for lots of reasons. I love the retro vibes of this thing. This is the Super Famicom version here. Retroid doesn't actually sell these retro colored buttons anymore, but they did when I got this. So I made my own retro colorway version, and I freaking love the look of this. Also, the system is good. It's Android 13, which means you can customize the snot out of it. I have this set up as I set up all my Android devices with Nova Launcher as my Android front end, ESDE as my retro front end, and all the best versions of all the best emulators. I have a video about how to do that. And I have a 1 terabyte SD card in here that I can move between my devices and bring all my games and my save games with me, but usually it just lives here at the RP5. I've really come around on Android as a system for retro handhelds. ESDE gives me that console-like experience, but I get the Android conveniences of being able to look stuff up on the internet or plop this on a table to use as a mini Netflix or YouTube TV, and the Android sleep functionality is second to none. This thing can stay asleep for days and days and barely lose any battery, and on a tap of the button it wakes right up into the front end and you can be in your game in literal seconds. The controls too, great controls, great D-pad, great buttons, amazing sticks and triggers, and the ergonomics. It has just the right amount of curves to grip onto, super comfy. I can and do game for hours at a time on the RP5. We have the power here to play almost everything, all the important stuff. GameCube and PS2 are no problem, and most Switch, and you can even play most stuff at the lowest power profile to get a ton of battery life. Even higher end stuff like PC games on GameHub or WinLater. I'm in the Retroid Facebook group, and every day I see people posting videos playing PC games. And the best part about this thing is the screen. It is a gorgeous big 5.5 inch 1080p OLED screen. It's so bright and contrasty and clear and beautiful, and the price is right. It's like $200 and something. For what you get here, that's definitely worth the investment. That's why I recommend this all the time. But subjectively, for me, there is no handheld that I want to play my games on more than this one. It's the perfect middle ground device that does everything that I want in the best and most convenient way, and it's the one that I want to grab to game on more often than any other. And like I said, I'll have links below if you want to pick any of these up. Mostly affiliate links down there, so if you use those links, it supports this channel, and for that, I thank you. Thanks, buddy. But now I gotta hear from you. I couldn't get every horizontal device on a best of list. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a best of list. It would just be a list. And I know you're gonna have different devices that you think should have been mentioned. So let's hear it. What did I mess up? Which horizontal retro doodads do you want to shout out? Let it rip in the comments below. And while you're down there, you might as well click the thumbs up button if you like the video, or don't if you didn't. I can't tell you what to like, but I mean, why'd you watch the whole video if you didn't like it? That's just weird.